cold out here. Welcome to another episode of Rig Digging with Kyle Coberline. That's me. We're up here at the RV and Motorhome Museum in Elkhart, Indiana. The weatherman did not say anything about snow in the forecast, but we're managing to get around. I'm up here with a good buddy of mine, Mike. He is retired from the school system and he helps me move a lot of RVs. We've actually got some business over at Renegade later today, so we thought we would stop in. So we'll do a quick tour and hope you guys enjoy the video. Here we are walking into the RV Motorhome Exhibitors Hall where they've got suppliers. Got toys on both sides, vintage toys. Got the displays in here from the different manufacturers. Here's a cutaway of a Cummins ISC. It's a 98 model, 350 horsepower. This was the most popular engine during the period of the dramatic diesel growth in the RV industry. This is the very first generator that was manufactured specifically for RV use. It's an Onan 5,000 watt, manufactured from 1961 to 1977. Gonna head into the RV Founders Hall where they've got some cool vintage RVs on display. Here's the oldest travel trailer in the world. 1913 Earl travel trailer being pulled by Model T Ford. Things have come a long way, but this is still really nice. Here's a 1916 telescoping apartment on a 1915 Model T Ford. Originally sold for $100. Here's the inside of a 1958 22-foot Airstream trailer. Here's a 1916 Cozy Camp tent trailer. Here's a 1958 Airstream. This was the smallest Airstream ever built. They named it the Little Prince. Got a 1931 model AA Ford house car. Pretty wild. Oh, look at them that driver's seat. That is wild. A 1932 Gilkey Camp King tent trailer. Over here we got a 1935 covered wagon travel trailer. The 1935 comfort travel trailer. Super wild. I think some people will take for granted how convenient like LED lights and some of the modern appliances are today. Got a 1922 Zaglemeyer camp trailer. (1950) Fleetwood Sportster. This is the very first camper built by one of the Hall of Fame members, John Crean. A 1954 Holiday Rambler travel trailer. Oh, you can go inside this one. Looks real cozy. (1955) Ranger crank-up tent trailer. Fewer than 200 of these built. Oh man, you can shove some buddies in here. 1954 Yellowstone travel trailer. Boy, look at that stove. It is wild, the things we used to do. I bet that would cook you out of here. Cool, cool, cool. Separate entry door back here in the bedroom. Here's a 1956 Easy Camper prototype. Here is a 1957 Cerro Scotty 12-foot travel trailer. This thing reminds me of something you'd see from like Apollo 13 coming back into the atmosphere from space. This is a neat little concept because they put it's a low profile trailer, but they put a drop floor in it so you can still stand up. And of course you got that where it raises back up because you got an axle that's underneath there. It was in the 1940s and 50s that teardrops started to really get popular. This is a 1957 Cerro Scotty 10-foot teardrop trailer. Still really similar to kind of what you would buy today. Maybe different materials, but design and function. Here's a 1964 Coachman Cadet travel trailer. It featured a bed that went up against the ceiling. She's got a little rock to her. Might need to take a little bit of a diet. I mean, it's just so neat to see these. I mean, there's a lot of usable space in this very small trailer. So this is the actual final prototype for the 1985 Fleetwood Bounder, which you still see these on the road today. They changed the industry for a Type A motorhome because it was the first coach to have basement storage. I mean, that's one of the biggest advantages to a Class A is the storage in the basement. I'm standing inside of the 85 Bounder prototype. This will throw you back in time. I bet this sucker has seen some good parties. Here's a 1962 Mallard travel trailer. I'm sure a lot of these units that they have on display, so, people put a lot of work into putting these things back together and making them good for people to look at. Really appreciate engineering over the years. This is a 1967 fan luxury liner. This was one of the first examples of a torsion bar for anti-sway. Man, this makes me want a vintage camper, like just something to tink on and camp in. So cool. My wife and I, if you follow some of our episodes and other videos, we've got a 2016 Winnebago View on a Mercedes 3500 chassis. We love that thing, but it's just there's just a cool feeling you get in some of these vintage trailers. Here's a 1966 Mustang travel trailer. This is one of the first trailers that was designed with a bunk in it. Here's that bunkhouse type design we're talking about in the back. It's just crazy. I've never seen one quite designed like this. I'm not even sure how you get into the bunk. Do you go around the corner? Oh yeah, you go around the corner and you got a little step well. Got your own little hidey hole up here. Here is a 1978 Coachmen Leprechaun. They still produce these today. This was originally purchased for around $14,000. Man, just one cool RV after another. 1931 Mae West house car. Owned by a celebrity, Mae West. (1929) Wiedemann house car. Look at the simplicity of that motor. Man, I want that chair to sit in when I'm driving. I couldn't even imagine. It's a 1935 Ballast Road Chief. Pretty sure my mom had some couches with that upholstery growing up. Not to give myself an age or anything. Here's the 1939 Lindbergh travel trailer. This was owned by Charles Lindbergh. Just think, Charles Lindbergh lived in this little space from time to time. This is a little travel trailer. I've got a customer who loves these. This is a 1977 GMC Motorhome. Basically looked like an airplane fuselage. This thing is luxury. It's been updated some, I can tell by the radio in it and stuff. Some modern stereo equipment. But a lot of original stuff as well. They did a good job kind of making this a little more modern. I see several things now that are kind of showing some modern touches on a vintage motorhome. Isn't that a cute shower? Yeah, this is cool. I could travel like this. This Star Streak 2 was built in 1988. And it was put on a 1976 Cadillac Eldorado. Oh yeah, this is classy. Velvet shades. Look at the front of this wild thing. Here's that 1928 Pierce Arrow Fleet house car. I bet so much goes into restoring these, especially when you can't find parts. So you're using newer parts to make them look old. Check out the toilet. It's got like a little, that's interesting. It'd be interesting to know how that works. I'm not 100% sure myself. It's got like a kind of a pump handle or something, I guess. Here's that 1964 Clark Cortez motorhome. This is the first example of front-wheel drive in a motorhome. So we're going to walk in and check out this 1986 Executive Diplomat. This RV logged over 100,000 miles. It traveled with two sons, Chad and Todd, around the U.S. to all the national parks west of the Mississippi River. It was used for high school tailgate parties, family camping trips, and pulled a ski boat to Lake Havasu, Arizona, dune buggy trailers to Glamis, California. So let's see what an RV looks like inside that's been used quite a bit. That's one thing I see in the RV industry is you run into some of these RVs, 30 years old, 30,000 miles on them. They sit a lot more than they get used. And this is an example of this RV's got a lot of memories. I mean, I know that's by far one of our favorite things about our RV is, it's just, the memories are countless, and the places we've gone and done, and the weather that we've had to endure, especially with a small child, things that we wouldn't have been able to do without having a nice RV. We were recently camping and there was some really bad tornado warnings, some storm damage not too far away, and we were able to pull on our slide and head south to a much safer area. (1933) Ford camp car. I got spooked by the lady figurine. Like, oh, who's that? (1935) York Rambler. Here's a 1936 road home coach. Trying to see the last time the calendar was updated, but I can't see that from here. 1935 Cozy Camp tent trailer, manufactured in Portland, Oregon. So in the late 1960s, truck bed campers started getting really popular. This is a 1969 Holiday Rambler truck camper. I noticed at some of the shows that I would attend 4 or 5 years ago maybe, that these truck bed campers were starting to kind of make a comeback. You're starting to see kind of more of them being sold. People being able to utilize a pickup truck they already had, but also still be compact and go a lot of places you may or may not be able to take a larger motorhome or larger trailer. A lot of space in that. It's really surprising. We're looking at a 1968 Carriage travel trailer. Carriage was founded in 1968, and what made them neat and different is that they actually were one of the first people to design and build a fiberglass, one-piece fiberglass in pieces, which was a new feature pioneered by them. I mean, that's, today when you look at some of your nicer coaches, that's one of the things you're looking for is, it's either solid fiberglass construction, solid fiberglass roof, especially like on most of your motorhomes today. There'll be vacuum bonded walls, aluminum tube structure, but you want that solid fiberglass roof. It's just, there's a lot less areas prone to leaking, easier to maintain. You can get up on the roof. You're just checking seals that are around fan vents and air conditioners. A lot more durable. This is a 1937 Haze Motorhome. It's a trailer, but it was the Haze Motorhome company. Man, this thing is plush. I mean, the woodwork in this thing is insane for a trailer. Here's a 1980 Newmar Country Air. Newmar was recently acquired by Winnebago Industries. One of the things that kind of went away with time is carpet in motorhomes and RVs. carpet's fine, but carpet tends to show age the fastest. So you'll notice in a lot of your modern RVs, they're using, vinyl plank just because of durability, waterproofness. Doesn't age near as fast. And of course, wear. You're in an RV, it's like everything's a hallway. So, the traffic is pretty much confined to a limited space. It just doesn't take long for carpet to show that wear and need replacement. If you do see carpet in a motorhome or any, it's usually going to be in a bedroom area, but not in the main area. So this is a 1974 GMC Motorhome. They were extremely advanced for their time, especially for handling. It was front-wheel drive. These still have a huge following today. One of the things I noticed when you walk in and out of RVs I take on trade, or walking in even these museum pieces, is how solid some of the brands feel after so many years versus others that you can tell they're starting to break down a little, or floors are a little softer, a little thinner. But of course, you also run into just how things are. Like, you can't make a travel trailer super robust because, especially a long time ago, the cars wouldn't be able to pull them over the mountains. They put big motors in these things, so they were built well. So here's a really cool piece of history. This is a 1968 Jayco Jayhawk camper. This was the 40th trailer built by Mr. Bontrager as he started Jayco Productions. The last piece here we'll look at is a 1967 Winnebago Motorhome. This was the very first popular motorhome that was production line built. I'd love to drive one of these. Just, you always see the movies and you see these things on the road every once in a while, and I just wonder what it'd be like to drive something like this. Everybody that passes you just wants to wave at you and smile. Here we are walking into the Go RV and Haul. This is where they've got a few more modern units. Here's a Sullivan Sports Go. These are neat. More or less it's a tent on a trailer, but it keeps you off the ground. So I'm sure these handle really well in bad weather, and even if the ground's like, I've gone camping and had a tent and it'd be muddy and sloppy, and you don't have to really worry about that with a trailer. Pretty cool the stuff they come up with. Here's a 1/24 scale of an RV manufacturing plant. Some of the manufacturers are building these trailers to make them look retro, but this is a modern camper for sure. Sometimes you notice that some of the manufacturers just don't build them like they used to. This floor doesn't feel as solid. But you also got to keep them light, so you got to find that happy balance when it comes to towing them all over the place. Up here on the balcony at the second level, just a bird's eye view of all the vintage campers they have on display. I would definitely recommend stopping by here. The last thing we'll check out up here is the RV Motorhome Founders Library. Obviously, I don't have the time today to do any research, but they've got tons of material that you can go through. Got places you can kind of hang out and read through old manuals and parts catalogs. Well, I appreciate you joining me for another episode of Rig Digging with Kyle. That's me again. We had a great time in the museum, and this is why we do all this. If anybody ever needs anything, always feel free to reach out to me. It's not always about making money off of people selling something. If you got questions or things to share. We RV ourselves. That's why we call it rig digging. So we dig into everything about selling them, buying them, using them, going to places, traveling. It's just something that we really enjoy, and it's a lot more than just a business to us.